What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. Today's video, we're going to go over 7 reselling secrets the big guys don't want you to know about. So please smash the like button, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys inside. Alright guys, before we get into the video, I want to go over the fact that we developed these secrets inside of my Facebook group at patreon.com/resellers podcast. And the reason why we're not scared to share all the secrets that we've developed over the last few years is that most people do not take the time to develop an intimate relationship with their customers or their product or the platform they sell on. So essentially, most people are super shallow, learn a little bit about everything, try a bunch of different platforms, don't really know their customer. That's not the secret to being successful at reselling. So we're gonna go over the 7 specific things you need to do in this video. All right guys, so the first secret is starting with a minimum average profit that you're looking for. So I recommend if you are beginning, and I consider this between 0 and 3 sales per day on average. So if you're averaging less than 3 sales per day, you're in this beginner category. I recommend a minimum $20 profit per item. And the reason is because it takes a lot of time to learn all the different systems and processes with reselling. So in the beginning, to make it worth your time, I recommend only selling items that are $20 profit and more. As you get more advanced, for me, I'm happy with the $4 profit, but I'm also selling hundreds of packages per day. So it depends on how advanced you are, but picking a minimum profit per item is huge. And you can either go return on investment, which means like you spend 10 to make 10, that's a 100% ROI. So you could think of it percentage wise, or you could look at it dollar amount wise, which is what I recommend for most beginners and most people selling under 500 items a day. I would say go with a dollar amount, not percentage. All right, so secret number 2, after you figure out how much profit you want to make per item, secret number 2 is figuring out how to list it properly. And this is actually very, very in-depth, and it's the entire point of our Patreon group at patreon.com/resellers podcast. You can check out the link below, but we go over how to do secret number 2, which is figuring out exactly how to list the item. So what that means is you need to figure out how to photograph it, how to list it, how to get the photos from your camera onto the actual computer, how to structure your titles so that people can actually find it. Title structure is maybe one of the most important parts of our group, and I intentionally leave it off of YouTube because it really is the secret sauce. Writing the title in the correct order makes it so people can find your items. You need to figure out how traffic works. So why does writing it in a certain title affect who finds it? How do item specifics actually affect how people find it? The pricing is really important, because if you're not listing it where customers are going to find it in their price bucket, like if they're looking for $15 to $20 for this type of item and yours is priced at $22, most likely nobody will ever find it. You also need to figure out the correct photo station, the correct shipping station, the weight. All of that starts with the idea of, do I know how to actually list it? So that's secret number 2. Thinking about before you buy the item, do I know exactly how to list and sell and ship this item? All right, number 3 is, will the item sell in the desired time frame? So this is a secret that's really important. I recommend either a time frame of 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. For most people, I do not recommend buying items that take longer than 1 year to sell. So if you're selling antiques and collectibles, make sure you're just buying ones that are currently trending or interesting, because if you turn into a store that's all set it and forget it, you end up getting items that are suppressed by eBay, because once listings are really old, they don't show up really high in traffic. So even though people might be looking for it, they may not find it. So I recommend you know exactly how long you want to wait to get your money back. If your selling time frame is 1 month, you need a lot less money than people who need to wait 1 year for their items to turn over. So number 4 is having a storage system where you can find every single item within 1 minute or less. That's the caveat that I put on there, because if you have a storage system and it's taking longer than 1 minute to find it, that means it's easy to lose things, and also it's taking you way too long to pack and ship your items. So in my system, all the items that are older are towards the front. It's just like the first in, first out method, which is also like how they do milk at the grocery store. So all the older items are here in the front, and then back here are all the new items. And as items sell, they move towards this way, and the newer items are towards the back. And that way, all the freshest inventory is always in the back, and the old inventory is being cycled through. So I recommend a date-based system. You can also use a chronological system, which is 1 through 1,000,000, which is actually the same. It just means that the smaller the number, the older the system. So item number 1 would be older, it'd be the first item you list. Number 100 would be the 100th item you list. So in this example, it would be like 1 closer to this side, 100 closer to that side. In the back where we do the processing, The new items come in that way and then they put into the system this way and they sell through towards the front. So if you have this type of a system, you can understand how old your items are and really get an idea of what to pick up less of. So in the front, if there are items that haven't sold, we buy less of those. If items move through the system really quickly, then we know that obviously keep buying more of those. All right, guys, so number 5 is a really important tip. It's called reset to zero. So what I mean by that is at the end of the day, we actually prepare ourselves for success for the following day. So everyone that works here is at least 2 days ahead. So that means that when they get to work, they're already done with the work that day. They're preparing for the next 2 days. And that actually keeps everybody ahead. And it lets me know if there's ever anything that comes up during the day, which happens all the time, people can plan ahead and adjust. So when you're running your own business, your income stops when you stop working. So you really got to make sure that you have extra plans in place to make sure you have extra in case you miss a certain day. So as an example, right now I'm streaming on Whatnot. So essentially, in order to make up for that, I stream extra items per day over my goal in case some days I can't. If you're on eBay or Poshmark or Mercari, I recommend like a draft bank, meaning like you have extra listings for at least, in my opinion, 2 weeks of paid vacation. So some people think like when I'm gone, I'll get sales and they'll pay for my vacation. But essentially, you're borrowing sales from the future to pay for your vacation now. If you do extra and launch those while you're gone, and your income is going to remain sort of the same. This is why we recommend in our group that you list every single day, not because we like to torture people, but because if you set up to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, if you're actually set up that way, you can take time off without your paycheck taking a time off. So I think people don't understand why we preach that. It's not because the algorithm specifically needs you to do that. It's just that you're setting up yourself for success all year. When you work a normal 9 to 5, you don't get 2 weeks paid vacation. You're actually paying for that the other 50 weeks that you work there. So it's really important to understand if you want paid vacation, you sort of have to pay for it beforehand. All right, guys, tip number 6 is ship in 1 day or less. Every single algorithm gives you better placement if you ship faster. And if you think about it from the customer's point of view, getting a notification right after you buy something that is already shipped is a fantastic experience. This is why people pay extra for Prime. So for us, we ship immediately after every single one of our shows. So most of our items ship same day because that experience really translates into more repeat customers. So a huge secret for why customers are successful is really fast shipping. Number 7 is writing every single thing down. So for me, as I'm building this process out and trying to figure out what the best way to do things are, I don't know in the beginning. Nobody knows in the beginning. You have to write down what you're doing and over time start eliminating things that you don't need. So as an example, I've never done janitorial before in a business. So now I need to figure out what soap do I need? What's the cleaning process? The air freshener that we have is whack and people don't like it. So I have to adjust all these little things, figure out the cleaning schedule, garbage schedule. That's all important, but if you don't write it down, you're not going to figure it out. In the beginning, it's impossible to just wing it. You've got to figure out step by step how many things that you're doing and all the different things that you're doing and start eliminating what's not working ruthlessly. So as an example, I just did potty training with my daughter. It took about 14 hours of me following her around with the little checklist to see when is she about to go and what kind of cues is she having. I've actually never been like so focused on one thing ever in my entire life. It was very interesting figuring out when it was that she was going to go and writing down all the different nuances. And even though she went 28 times the first day, I missed like 2 or 3 of them because I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't have anything else on my schedule. All I was doing was just that task all day. So if you're not writing down what's going on, there's no way you have the awareness to make the changes you need to build a successful business. Most people, their entire day is super, super distracted. So they really don't know the mistakes that they're making. So I encourage you guys, shut off your cell phone, get a little notebook or a clipboard, walk around your business, do your normal day and just write down what you're doing at every single time of the day. Do a time audit, share it inside of our Facebook group at patreon.com/theresourcepodcast. In this group, there's over 2,500 people doing this exact same thing of building their own online store. We all do the exact same job. You just want to modify it so that it matches your products and your customer better than anybody else, and that's what's going to make you succeed. Most people have a very, very shallow relationship with themselves, with their customers, with their suppliers, with their product. They barely know anything about it, and that translates into very, very poor results. So I appreciate you guys. Join the group. See you next time.